What's up, humans? Welcome back to the Human Music Podcast. I'm Luke Rain, and this is episode 82, Best VSTs for Producers. With Black Friday coming up, we dive into our favorite VST plugins, the free, the cheap, and the expensive, so you'll know what to get. We cover all the ways you didn't know how to use Soothe 2, distortions and saturations including Sausage Fattener, Softube Saturator, Trash 2, Devious Machines Infiltrator, Rift, Krush, and Melda's Saturator and Wave Shaper. Soft synths like Serum, Quanta, and Vital. Some random ones like Vocal Synth 2, iZotope Vinyl, Spiff, Portal, Acon Digital Chorus, Valhalla Shimmer, and Roth Air, and of course the Fab Filter Bundle, including Pro L2, Pro Q3, Pro C, Pro R, Pro DS, and Saturn. We also talk about some plugins that we wish we hadn't purchased. The song of the week that you can hear behind me is Rip Kenny's Just Wanted You to Know. That's coming out this Friday if you're listening to this on time, so click down below for the pre-save link, or click down below to go listen to it if you listen to it a little later. Also support our sponsors, Dojo TV, where you can get free producer live stream classes from the Producer Dojo Senseis, the weekly download where you can learn from Il Gates and his private weekly group lessons, and get access to over 250 more episodes in the archive for just $20 a month, and guest practices where you can learn from Seth Drake at the Approach Institute. He's the best engineer we know, and your first class is free. Hit up thehumanmusicpodcast.com for more episodes, links to our socials, and some free sound packs. And with all that said, let's get on into this episode.
Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesco with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo!
Human Music Podcast. I like it. What's up, humans? Welcome back. It's the Human Music Podcast.
Emphasis
one and
on
only.
the.
If you get anything from our podcast in 82 episodes, but really the, because that's how I say it in the intro to every episode.
True.
We should add another E.
The.
Okay, emphasis on the
there's no
the.
confusion.
Yeah, let's delete that old URL we bought and get a different one.
Yeah, change all their links.
Yeah, exactly.
Re-invite
Fuck
all their
it.
guests.
But yeah, we were thinking like for this week, what to talk about. And, Black Friday's coming up. Everybody's going to be looking for those deals on the plugins. And we wanted to just ask each other so we'd know what to buy, so you could listen in, so you'd know what to buy. What do each of us think is like the most worthwhile plugins that we've ever purchased, and why, so that we can make informed decisions? And there will probably be some surprises that two of us will be like, holy shit, I never thought of that plugin. And some other ones where somebody says, you need this, and everybody is like, yes, I'm so glad I bought that. And those are just for you, and we're just going to congratulate each other on how smart we each are.
Speaking of plugins that we all wish we bought sooner, and we all have, 1, 2, 3. What's the best plugin?
Sausage Fattener.
Soothe.
Is that? Come on. We were just here. Soothe.
You don't like one knob to compress, saturate, and limit. One knob to compress, saturate, and limit, dude. Come on,
too, doesn't it?
What?
I'm pressing buttons.
It
like it has a knob and a button. I think it's not literally just one knob.
Well, it's one knob, and then there's a color knob to saturate more.
At least two knobs.
It has a color knob, but the main knob limits, saturates, and compresses.
And the episode's already off the rails. Woo! Woo! That's
actually,
our
it was off the rails.
The Sausage Fattener podcast.
Dude, yeah, it was off the rails as soon as I said an emphasis on the. That's. But we're back on the rails talking about Soothe now. All right.
Yeah.
So
if it's on sale, you want.
If you don't already have it, it's pretty much a complete hack for mixing. Mm-hmm. That's in and of itself a reason to get it, because mixing sucks, and anything you can do to make it easier is a godsend. And that Soothe 2, or Soothe in general, Soothe 2 is the newer one. Get that one because it's full band. Is an absolute godsend. and it's super easy to use. It makes all your stuff sound way better in the club, and
everywhere else,
and into earbuds.
And I'm gonna just drop two things that I love to use in Soothe that you probably will as well if you don't already know about them. The first I learned from your boy Tesco, and that is Delta Mode. So
Delta Mode.
You know how like when you're sweeping through on an EQ to find a resonant frequency and you're like making a big peak and like sweeping it through to find like the harshest bit, and then you like notch that out. Well, in Soothe, if you use Delta Mode, then you can solo a band and basically as you adjust it, hear the stuff that Soothe is removing in real time. So basically turn on Delta Mode, make it sound as bad as possible, and then turn it off and it sounds great.
Delta, of course, meaning the change between the original signal and the wet signal.
Math.
Yeah, so it's like just everything Soothe is taking out, essentially, whatever it's identifying as like the harshest.
And that was the biggest level up for Soothe that I had used for a while. And then the other day I just found, I don't know why I hadn't used it before, but I was using Track Spacer on something and I was using Soothe on another track, and I realized that Soothe has a thing that says sidechain. And I was like, I've never used that before, but come to think of it, I'm pretty sure I know what that will do. And if you have the VST3 version, which you should, you just route the sidechain in from, say, your lead vocal, and put that Soothe instance on the thing that is harsh, and Soothe will then use the lead vocal as a reference to dip the harshest resonances that are conflicting with that vocal that you set for that sidechain in, and only dip those. So it's like Track Spacer on steroids with way more high quality processing and way more control over what you do, and it is also magic. Super bonus tip that these guys also know that I hope you do at home. I think we mentioned this last episode, but there's quality settings for Soothe that you can modify to have the most CPU friendly settings while you're listening back, so you don't overload your computer. And then when it exports, you can choose a different quality for that. So just set that to maximum, set the real-time quality to whatever your computer can handle, and then it has a copy to all instances button. Such a big brain dev move. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And it saves yourself 30 minutes. So get Soothe, do yourself a favor, use those things I just talked about. Number one, boom.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I got something. No, I'm not done with Soothe yet.
No,
because okay, cool. I got one first. During the finishing of my tune, I Love You Like remix, it just dropped on Producer Dojo. Il Gates was doing like the stem mastering on it.
Run it up.
That shit on repeat.
Do it.
Helped fix my. Thank you guys. He helped fix my my vocal harshness, and I had been trying some different things with Soothe, like on the group and doing some other stuff, and then he showed me back what it sounded. I was like, oh damn, that sounds so clean. What'd you do? And he's like, oh, I just put Soothe first on the chain on each of your vocal instances that you sent me stems of, and then if I had to do anything else, maybe I did a little more processing, but like basically no EQ and shit. I was like, oh awesome, put it first instead of last. Good tip. Now here's the gem. What settings did you use? He says, oh, bro, just like literally the default.
Yeah.
It's like, think about it. The plugin company knows it's going to show up at a version. They put a lot of thought into what's this default going to be. So even if somebody has no idea what they're doing, this is going to help so much. And you open it up. It's not a flat curve. It's got a fat bump in the effective range right in the pain zone, right in that harsh ass like 1K to 5K area. I've been testing that theory lately and just like making a mashup and be like, all right, I had to pitch shift that vocal. I can hear some little artifacts. Soothe right after the pitch shifter. Boom, that shit sounds great again. Holy fuck.
Yep.
No, I haven't even touched a knob yet. I don't think I'm gonna.
So the default preset's honestly amazing. Sometimes I just literally throw that on.
Have you guys ever being the soothe connoisseur that I am,
yes, sir.
I have always wondered why the default setting, the frequency that node is at that is bumped up, there's only one that's bumped up, is at 5K. To me, I always have felt like, because like Fletcher Munson curve, yada yada, like what's the most harsh frequencies? It's 3.5K. Why is it not there? Like, obviously they put time and energy into it, and I agree, the default sounds great. Like, if I just need to like quickly like, yeah, this is harsh, it's not that important, but I just need to soothe it up, just use the default. Why is it at 5K? I don't know.
Man, that's a really good question. And so far, the front page of Google on it has nothing that's really helping me out. So I'm going to just go with, but it sounds nice.
It does. And obviously, they put a lot of time and thought into this plugin with all of the features that we just mentioned. So I'm sure it's not just like random, but that always struck me as kind of funny.
I mean, I wonder if the algorithm already takes that into account.
You mean it already works harder
to Fletcher Munson, and then like adding a boost from there. It's like a new baseline standard.
I don't know. That would make sense though if like the algorithm was programmed to do a little bit more at 3.5 and a little bit less as you moved away, or whatever contributes or like to the Fletcher Munson. Interesting thought.
Yeah,
you had one.
How it works, but I feel like that has to factor in, given that like each frequency band is going to be affected like differently in terms of how much they get affected.
Yeah, you had.
I feel like
a thing, right?
Connoisseur should be called a connoisseur. But yes, I do have one more thing.
Thank you.
One real dope trick for soothe is overdoing it to find problematic areas and then taking it off and going back to fix it. So example of this I like is like sometimes in my final master I can't fully tell where the muddiness is coming from. So I can throw on a soothe, centralize it around that area and figure out, is it 100, 150, 200, blah, 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 a little more specifically. And I can see how much soothe is pulling it back to compensate. So I can go back and fix that sometimes just with an EQ. Another thing I'll do is sometimes with the vocals, if I notice that the low end of my vocal, and obviously, you know, like if you have a falsetto part followed by like a belting part, obviously that's going to change. But if you have like, let's say a part that goes on for 16 bars and you're finding soothe is like, it's not making sense how much low end it's taking out. Sometimes it's just a little, sometimes it's a lot or whatever. Sometimes I find putting an EQ before my compressor can really help with the way the compressor interacts. So it's not so much something that I'll do, but it's more so something that if I see, I'll see if I can go back earlier in my vocal chain, for example, and just see if I could get a nicer frequency response going into the compressor.
Yes.
And I feel like that might help with like bass sound design and other stuff like that. Because I definitely feel like too with my masters, finding like if I get a build up between like 1 to 200 and I take it out, I can effectively compress the track a little harder, get a little more loudness out of it without it getting muddy.
Amen.
So yeah, that's a cool
bit of a tangent, but an extremely important thing that you should keep with you. Your plugin order really matters, and the order, like whatever you do before that plugin, is going to affect how that plugin, what it spits out. And so it's like if your low end of your vocal is smashing your compressor, but you were trying to control more of the high end, dip out some lows before the compressor, and then have a more even response vocal to compress to your liking.
Yeah. Also, the more I think about it, sorry, I'm just thinking for people that are having trouble identifying frequencies too, this could be such a good tool for you to find those problematic areas if you can't hear them, and then go through with the EQ, boost the area, see like, oh, okay, this is what this texture sounds like, this is what this frequency sounds like, And in the context of the sound, I see now why it's being taken out.
Yeah, and using that really delta mode to train your ears is like, oh, that's the harshness it's removing. Because when you hear it gone, it's such a, you could tell it's better, but especially if you got an untrained ear, it's not as obvious what's happening. But you hit that delta mode and it just goes at you like an angry cat. And you're like, oh, right, that's what's not hurting my ears in the section now. I get it.
Right.
I have another cool trick. Sorry to cut you off, Evan.
mine's a funny anecdote, so I'll end.
Okay, go for it. Okay.
No. Yeah, mine's not important.
With Soothe, a cool sound design technique you can do. If you want something that is really disgusting and have it stick out of the mix, literally put Soothe on Delta mode and then process that and saturate the fuck out of it. Or if it's something that you want to just fit like in the background of a mix, but you want it to sound thin and shitty, but still stick out, literally just get Soothe to give you all of the most like noticeable frequencies. And then if you have some like hype noise in your drop, or you could even try making bass noises out of it, and then you'll probably have to retame it later because it's all the shittiest frequencies. But like, especially background elements really makes them feel hollow and thin sounding, but still just has all the frequencies that are like most sensitive to your ear. So you just throw that shit back like minus 40 dB and it's still very audible.
Yeah. You can use that technique to make like really like glitchy or staticky sounding stuff because it's so broken.
Amen.
My funny anecdote was for the first like year and a half I was producing in Ableton before I even really like started learning how to mix. I didn't know that the order of the things on the channel made a difference. I literally didn't know.
It's funny because once you know it, you're like, why wouldn't it make a difference?
Like duh. Like, oh my God. But like just put the limiter first and then everything after it, right? Like
yeah. It'll find its way. Maybe one day when AI is so advanced, it'll just figure this shit out for you. It'll just be like, no, you dummy, you put this here.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, the little Microsoft Word paper clip will show up and be like, hey, you have no fucking clue what you're doing, dude.
You're really following your artistic vision there, right?
Yeah. But just all this to say, we're not trying to say there's a right way to put your plugins in an order. We're saying that it matters. And that sometimes you're fucking your shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what's next?
So if you're not sure, A/B that shit. Move it here, move it there, move it here, move it there. And you're like, oh, okay, there is a difference. But yeah, so real quick on Soothe, I just want to, like, obviously we all think it's worth it. And Black Friday is coming up for the people that listen to this episode on time, or it's coming up again for the people who listen to it really, really late. And is it worth it at full price compared to Black Friday price? Obviously more worth it at Black Friday price. I bought it last year at Black Friday price. It would have still been worth it at full price if you're listening to this in like March and can't wait.
They also have they have an Easter sale as well. That's the same as Black Friday.
Ooh, so for you listen to it kind of late people.
Yeah. But honestly, it's worth it at full price. If you're having trouble with the mix,
it's worth it at double price even. And I'm saying that as somebody who is reluctant to get it, but once you get it, you're just like, God damn it. Like, I got it. I should have just got it earlier.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
It was like when I finally tried acid at that Skrillex concert.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do this sooner? This stuff is great. Really soothed out my whole mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Soothe too for the soul.
Yeah. Brain soothe. All right. Let's move on to Soothe 2 can be used in so many places. Let's talk about and we really talked about it on vocals. So let's cut over to distortions or saturators, like things like that. Stuff to beef up your sound. So clearly we've already spoken on Sausage Fattener a lot on this podcast. Let's move on from there. Or I guess if you got a tight 20 minutes on Sausage Fattener, Evan, we can start there.
Hey, you guys want to know something fucked up?
Yeah.
Obviously.
I put Sausage Fattener on every master that I do. I'm not even kidding. at 1%.
1%.
At 1%.
That's
like
feel you. I
near
feel
the
you.
We should have
end
a
of the
before
chain,
and
but-
after video where the before is just like utter garbage. It's like after Sausage Fattener at 1%, just beautifully polished.
Or do it with that "Show Me What You Got" episode of Rick and
Oh
Morty,
my
where
God.
it's like, oh yeah, before be like boop 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 boop, and after everybody gets swifty in here.
Yeah, different songs.
Subscribe on to YouTube if you want to see my swifty dance moves.
So I think Sausage Fattener is the one for you, eh?
Yeah, sounds like it.
For me, yeah, definitely.
That's it.
Shout out Data Life, sponsor us, give us an affiliate link.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, so for Distortion, I think we would be remiss not to mention Trash 2, but I think everyone probably knows about Trash 2 at this point, right? Is that
And I don't know if it's always
If you
free,
don't,
but I
just
feel
don't
like
get it.
it's easy to get for free, at least. Is that accurate?
Yeah, get yourself a prolonged demo if you're hesitant.
But Trash 2 is sick, but it's like so involved. I just don't find myself reaching for
I
it.
feel you.
that much.
I don't really like
What do
the
you mean
interface
involved?
of it. It's just so many pieces to it and the different like overlays and pop-ups inside of it that you got to navigate to like do your shit. Whereas like a bunch of other ones are so much simpler of a UI, even if they technically can do less, they're more fun to reach for and like look at.
Yeah. So like if you're looking to like get really nasty distorted stuff and like have a bunch of options for distortion, Trash 2 is still like far and away the best. And like the sound design possibilities with Trash 2 are sick. So keep that in mind. But for me, one that I've actually found myself using more and more on like groups and stuff is actually, so I have Ozone 5 and still use Ozone 5 for mastering stuff because I just like have
OG.
Yeah, just the OG. But I'm sure all of Ozone stuff still breaks out into the individual modules. And so using their multi-band exciter on like groups of stuff has been sick for me, especially because you can do mid-side in that exciter and just target like certain bands. So like you can really like fit stuff around like fit it like exactly where it needs to be in the mix, and get really like precise with how much I mean it's really just a saturator, right? How much saturation you put. And I mean you can push it hard enough to be distortion, but that for me, I guess I don't know how useful this is as a Black Friday recommendation. Like if you don't have Ozone, like maybe get it and start using that. But that just came to the top of my head as something in distortion that I've been using a lot lately.
It's interesting.
That's what's up. I mean, yeah.
What about you guys?
Multi-band exciter. One thing I wanted to bring up, I haven't even paid for the real bundle yet because, you know, the free bundle's lit, but the Melda Bundle, a lot of my distortion mess around, fuck around and find out sessions lately have been using the Melda Saturator and the Melda Wave Shaper, actually. And, you know, the Saturator is a saturator. You know, you can mess with the harmonics and it's got this like kind of compressor exciter function on it too that you can turn on and off and play with the taking like positives and negatives out of different harmonics, which is way better than EQing. You know what I'm saying? Like EQing, you got to like have something like Soothe where it'll move with whatever note you play. Whereas if you take out the harmonic, it'll just be like, okay, well, here's the fundamental. So clearly here's the second harmonic that we're either boosting or dipping, and doing it based off that. I really like that vibe.
I didn't even realize it did that. Like I have the free Melda bundle and I've never even used the M Saturator. That is fucking great.
I downloaded it because Alexandra recommended it and she told me a couple of the things that she was messing with, and I started with that, and then I started watching Il Gates use it, and Il Gates is then got me onto using the Wave Shaper, and I had no idea what a Wave Shaper was at that moment. And for people that don't, like a compressor has to do with time, right? Like if you go over this loudness, over this amplitude, in this amount of time will squash it by this much. And so it's very useful, but it's also limited. Whereas a wave shaper literally deals with each individual cycle of your wave. So what does a wave, what do we want to do to this amplitude of the wave compared to this amplitude of the wave, large or small? And so you've got a graph of like the amplitude coming into the amplitude going out. So what you can do with that is take those really small quiet parts at the end of a sound and turn them up really loud, and you could even completely reverse the curve. So the quietest shit on your sounds will be the loudest shit on your sound, and vice versa. Like the big attack will turn quiet. Like you could completely flip a sound on its head, and there are so many possibilities on how to mess with that. And I found like it's really fun for like using an 808, and you know the 808 comes in really hot. It's got a strong attack and a big loud part right at the beginning. Basically leave that part alone because it's working fine, but then it trails off and there's some like little fuzz down there, some little quiet shit that kind of gets lost in the mix. You can turn that shit back up and just like have the sustain and the beef and the grit of your 808 come out so hard. Sometimes it's like take basic ass 808, any 808 from my library, drag it in and throw the wave shaper on it, and then just turn up just the quiet shit. And it's like, ho, that's basically the face of my drop now, because that is nasty.
That's dope, dude. I didn't even realize that, because I've been looking for, I mean, I guess the specific use case that I like need something to do this in a lot is like a hi-hat line that I have in audio, and like the transients are just too loud, but it's just a first bit. So using that, like, would it work like that? Like using it in the opposite way, like that you said, like make the loud parts quieter.
Yeah.
Could you put that on hi-hats and like turn that shit down?
Yeah, for sure.
Just the transient. Sick.
Yeah, exactly. You could like so it's just like a square basic ass graph. The default is just a completely like correlational line just going up and to the right, you know? Just a flat line at 45 degrees. And so what you could do is for that you could just take down the loudest shit and just turn that down. So it's like it goes up and then comes back down to however loud you actually want your hi-hat transients. And then you could like turn up the middle and then keep the quietest part low. If you want to add sustain and grit to your hi-hat, you could turn up the lows a little bit. You could completely flip and it would probably do like a whipping in, like as if it were a reverse. And God knows what that would sound like, but nobody else is making that sound right now. Probably.
Dude, that's so sick. I literally just opened it up in Ableton while you were talking and realized I had no fucking idea you could drag the points at either end that make like the normal slope and just reverse them. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and then you can make multiple nodes in there to like break up the automation of that, and then you can curve the lines like an automation. It's fucking great. Shouts to Il Gates for hipping me to that when he was that I also learned during the mastering stage of I Love You Like remix. Support on Spotify, buy on Beatport
right now. Wow, that's dope,
man. Yeah, shout out Melda too. Like all the stuff they put out is freaking amazing. Like, yeah, it's like what, like 40 plugins almost in the free bundle.
Yeah, and I mean you get like an oscilloscope too, so you can like put that on your 808 to see if your waveform is like fat enough, if you're getting enough, if you're moving enough air, and you can see if like your EQ that you turned on or any plugin you turned on is fucking up your waveform or giving you phase issues like really easily. So like, yeah, the Melda Bundle.
That's dope.
Melda Bundle, free bundle, definitely worth it no matter what day of the year it is. And I'm going to have to check in on how much their bundle is during Black Friday, because I've been really enjoying their free one. And I know the one of the cool things is the paid version, I believe, is a multi-band wave shaper. So you can do different things to the highs and lows, so then you break that down by EQ band. Oh shit.
Damn.
Yeah. Right. So you can then you can fuzz out the high frequency information super max without fucking with what the bass is doing. Not fucking with your sub notes.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
Speaking of very dope plugins that will help analyze your sound, big shout out to Voxengo Span.
Also free.
Also free. Also a godsend. Absolutely amazing for mastering, for using reference tracks, for getting your song to sound polished, finished, complete. All that.
Yeah.
One more that when we started talking about plugins we use, I realized that this is one that I use all the time that I don't necessarily know if most people know about. It's a cheap plugin from Waves called Smack Attack. I just use it for transient shaping. It's just got like the controls you need and none of the ones you don't. And it works way better than the Ableton drum bus transient thing. I mean, drum bus in general colors something so much that I don't ever use it for that. But it's super simple, great transient plugin. I'm sure you could get it at Black Friday for like $25.
Yeah. That's about what I paid for it. Maybe $29.99 on sale.
Yeah.
It's solid. I would also just throw out there the Kilohertz transient shaper is even slightly simpler and really easy on your CPU and has a beautiful UI with like I think 3 knobs, maybe 4. It's great. Yeah. But yeah, that Smack Attack is solid. I like it.
As somebody that loves Trash 2 and drum bus, find what works for you.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean,
I'm like, damn, you guys, we didn't even get around to that, but I was like, damn, you don't like Trash 2, and now you just talk down on drum bus. And I'm like,
oh, dude, I love Trash 2. I use it actually probably at least once or twice in every song, but more in like the most sound design heavy parts, right? Or like to do sound design. But I feel like everyone has to know about that. If you don't, probably get the trial or something.
So we were talking about distortions actually, and speaking of plugins that everybody needs, especially if you're making music that you want to be in your face, if you're creating drops, if you're trying to create drop-like sections, Devious Machines Infiltrator is insane. That's the one plugin. The trial blew me away, and as soon as it goes on sale, I'm copying it, but it's still, I think, only 115-ish. That shit is crazy. Like for mudpieing, you just flip through those presets, and what it comes up with is just absolutely insane. Has so much articulation. The distortion is just immaculate. Like it just sounds right up in your face, massive, and it has movement. Like really cannot ask for more.
Amen. Man, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. The Infiltrator from Devious Machines.
Yeah, I just realized also, speaking of distortion, I just got this, and I've only used it like a few times. But if you want like a more in-depth distortion unit, Rift by Minimal Audio, they got me on an Instagram ad. Good for them. Golf clap. But it's got a lot of really, really cool time-based parameters that is way easier to use than like, I mean, Trash 2 has like LFO stuff that you can do with like EQ bands and whatnot, but this has like a bunch of really cool, like it's just you end up doing a bunch of stuff distortion wise that you wouldn't normally.
Yeah, dude, this is like the serum of distortion.
It is. I was literally going to say that. It literally is the serum of distortions, and you can like you have so many more options for distorting your sound in like a super clean UI that's not like hard to understand at all. Like sometimes Trash can be. And like I said, I can't speak too much to specific use cases, but like I've really liked it in the little amount that I've used it.
Amen. I'm gonna have to check that one out too. Good thing I'm taking notes to our podcast intro with.
I know. I'm taking notes on what to snag.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. Favorite freeware plugin? Or
I mean, I already said that Melda Bundle. I'm probably just gonna underline that shit. Right now.
I'll throw out a couple. Saturation Knob by Softube. It's super basic. It's honestly not like the most amazing saturation, but it has one knob for the amount of saturation and then 3 types. It's like low, neutral, and high. And I've found myself using it on stuff frequently over the years. Just if I want something quick that is different than just the Ableton saturator, because sometimes I find myself just using so many Ableton saturators. I'm like, okay, I want this thing to sound like a little bit different than all the other stuff I put saturator on. So I use that one. Krush is Krush with a K by Tritik, Tritik. It's another distortion bit crush downsample plugin. So in the distortion topic, but it sounds great.
It looks sexy.
And it, like, for someone like myself who likes to distort, bit crush, and downsample a lot of different stuff, it's really cool. And then it also has like a little modulation section that I don't use a ton, but it for freeware, it's like, are you kidding me? It's so good. Let's see, other freeware. I'm gonna throw in a slightly random pick, but because I'm sure almost all of you have Serum, and if you don't, think about it. It's like what I use for literally 95% of the sounds and all of my songs.
Not Serum, but your life. Think it through very carefully.
Think about your life. If you have Serum, you also have Serum Effects. And Serum Effects is just a standalone version of the effects unit within Serum. And for myself, who got to know the ins and outs of Serum like really deep and know what the stuff sounds like and know how to get to the sound that I'm trying to achieve, like, if we're talking about distortion units that I use, Serum Effects is far and away the one that I reach for the most often, to just distort stuff or process it in general. Like, if I had 2 plugins outside of the Ableton stock, well, I guess Serum and Serum Effects would probably be one, but that would if I only had one, it would be that. Like, literally Serum and Serum Effects, and then I could make most of what I like to make.
Amen. So just another toss out there. If y'all don't have Serum, then y'all don't have Serum Effects, and they come as the same thing when you just buy Serum. So
yeah, Serum Effects is free with Serum. So
yeah, Serum. That is a very good recommendation for anybody that doesn't have it yet. Tried and motherfucking true.
Yeah, for real. Vital is dope. It's free. It's very Serum-like, and you can get a $5 subscription or $10, something like that. They have different tiers where you get an insane amount of presets and stuff available to you. But even the free version alone comes with some presets. Super dope. And there's another freeware one I wanted to throw out. Chorus. Look into Multiply. I found out about it from a company stream. Sounds really, really, really dope. And it's free. It's probably my go-to chorus on anything that I want to sound a little more expensive, like a vocal or a drop bass.
Really?
Nice. I'll just be using Reason stock chorus. It's lit.
Serum Effects chorus for me. But as someone that uses chorus a lot in my sound design, oh my god, I'm so glad that we did this topic today. Sick.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to use this with Krush.
Yeah, dude, you'll love that.
I already downloaded it.
Who's the chorus one by?
Good question. Let's see, chorus Multiply VST by Acon Digital, not the rapper. Acon.
Are you sure?
Acorn Digital. Gotcha.
What about you, Luke? What's your favorite free stuff?
Shit, man. Like I was saying, I think I'm just going on Melda because I can't remember what I paid for and what was free at this point. And something's going on with my interface, so if I open either of my 2 DAWs, Ableton or Reason, right now, it will completely steal the sound card from the podcast recording, and you won't be able to hear me anymore. I don't know why. Something happened once I got this new new interface. Yeah, but let's just stick there, and because I really
those are some good ones.
I really want to move on to some shit I'm super glad I paid for, which is the Fab Filter Bundle. And if you can get it on a deal, awesome. I ended up opting for the mix and master bundle that has like Pro L2, Pro C, Pro R, so the limiter, compressor, reverb, gate, which I basically never use, but the multiband compression, which I use all the time, and of course Pro Q3, which is the best EQ if you're going to EQ things. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I imagine you guys can agree with that. Pro Q3 is indispensable. Pro L2 is double indispensable. Literally on every track I ever bounce. Amazing limiter. Pro C, just a really, 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 really good compressor. Pro R, super clean, super dope reverb. Sounds nice and expensive. A lot of good options, including the chorus or singular voice. Making it darker or brighter, changing the room shape. You can take all of those settings, and there's a multiplier knob where you can up the percentage of what that's doing. So you keep all your settings as a ratio, but you multiply it by this one knob. It's fucking great. Pro R FTW.
Yeah, there's so many good things in that bundle, but honestly, just for Pro Q3, it's alone. It's amazing.
Yeah.
More than worth it.
Yeah, and one I didn't get, the one that I'm kind of, they have their filters and Volcano, which is a kind of distorty filter, I think, and then Timeless, which is a weird delay thing. Those are cool and all. I didn't love those, but I do miss not having Saturn, their saturator. It's a very cool saturator with a shit ton of options of different types of saturation, and then you can multi-band it and affect each band differently.
What happened to it, or do you just?
I got the full demo. And then decided how much money I had and how much I was willing to spend on this. And the bundle that included Saturator also included all the other things that I didn't really care if I had or not, and decided I wouldn't use. And it was $300 or $400 more. And I was like, you know what? If I really miss it enough, I'll just come back and buy Saturn, which
makes sense.
I hadn't thought of for a while. And then lately I've been thinking of it again. So this Black Friday, I might just buy Saturn.
Nice. Yeah, Saturn is really dope for distortion. I feel like Trash and Saturn are the Pokemon Red and Blue of early 2010s music production distortions.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know they came out with Saturn 2. I wonder what's different in there. Have you guys used FabFilter Pro DS?
Oh, all the fucking time. Thank you for reminding me. I love their DS.
Not my favorite, but
what's yours?
I really I think it's called Sibilance by Waves.
All right.
Honestly, I've really been pulling back on DSing.
Yeah.
I find it's been very, very minimal. I find it's keeping my frequency spectrum more consistent has allowed me to place things in the mix better than when I'm DSing. So maybe I'm biased here.
Yeah, I feel you. And Seth Drake on The Approach even talks about how he isn't really into de-essing when he did his vocal processing episode. And he says he'll do all the other things and he does a lot of serial processing where he'll put 2 Pro Cs with, different settings for the body and the transients. And then he'll put, and then he'll toss in, once he knows what that feels, he'll put the Pro Q before the Pro Cs, like you were just talking about, plug-in order matters. And then pull back on what is actually being compressed with EQ, and then readjust the compressor settings and do all sorts of cool stuff like that. But then I also got taught by Sound Oracle, soundoracle.com. They had a course, a little free video on how to get your de-essing working better. And it was similar to Seth Drake's trick of using 2 Pro Cs in serial doing different parts. And what he did was, since you can select your frequency range of what you're de-essing on your sidechain in Pro DS, to like find the two areas, because there's usually at least two areas that sibilants are hitting on a person's voice. And so there's going to be one like closer to the 5 to 15K range, somewhere in there, that's really hitting, and one that's closer to like the 2.5 to 5 range. And they're like happening at different times at different volume levels. So it's really hard to find one de-esser setting that works for both of those. So just duplicate your de-esser, have, split up the bands to where you're actually seeing it, and then go with the highest threshold possible, so it's barely catching just those S's, and then crank up the actual gain reduction range. Once you've found that it's barely hitting when your S's, then you can crank it to where it sounds right on that. And that's how I do de-essing based on what Sound Oracle taught me.
That sounds a lot more confusing than what I do, which is slap soothe at the end of the chain and focus it around the high end.
Amen.
But that point you made on two main areas of harshness that happen at different times. Now that you like really put it like that, I have noticed that with vocals, but it never like clicked like that. I just know the way I would set up soothe would always be like two humps with like a little dip in the middle. And that always seems to work best.
My humps, my lovely soothing lumps.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's, I find like, I don't know. I think my mixes are probably just too busy, but I end up having to do both, like DS and then bounce and clip the remaining like super harsh S's and stuff and turn them down. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I have to
that's the best de-esser.
Yeah, I'm just a snake.
Sounds pretty.
That is really the best de-esser. It's snake jazz. Totes my jam.
So edgy.
But yeah, no, honestly, that's like, again, back to Seth Drake's course, that was his real solution. He's like, do all the other processing, and then like a lot of the EQing and soothing and shit you do on that vocal is going to take care of a lot of the S's. Mm-hmm. And then go back through, look at your waveform while you're listening and be like, oh, that S was harsh. Chop, lower, crossfade. And, just manual de-essing, but you get to manually lower that particular S by the exact amount of decibels that sounds right inside of your processing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just have a real tough time justifying the cost of the new Fab Filter Bundle when I just have Pro Q2 and Pro L regular and Pro MB regular and Saturn. Like I bought those like forever ago. Like, and I just like looking at the price tag on this, I'm just like,
As much as I love Pro Q3, whenever I've used it, I still don't have it for the same reason. And as much as I love it, being this deep into it and having all the tools I have, I'm not going to go out and get it. But if somebody's looking for a really solid suite of plugins, they have some money to pay for it. You want a really nice EQ, you want a really nice compressor, whatever that's going to last you years, get it.
Dude, I almost wish like I could go back in time and like not spend money on a bunch of shit that I don't
plugins,
use. Yeah. And just buy the fucking Fab Filter Bundle and Serum.
I got a question for you. What plugin do you regret?
Okay, this is a great question. Let me open up Ableton and find all of my regrets.
While you're looking, lots of random like Waves sales that I bought while high late at night. Like, I need this Master Desk. I don't know if I've ever opened it. It might be awesome. Probably analog model to shit. I don't know. I have the Fab Filter Bundle. Why the fuck? I use that for mastering. Why did I buy a whole nother suite that it is a whole standalone that negates everything else I bought for way more money that looks better and probably sounds better if we're being real honest.
Man, okay, so Waves, but let's look through this catalog.
For me, like almost everything I've bought that I need to use in a contact player.
Yep.
Just like, God damn it, I just don't use. The only one that I actually do still use all the time is Ascend, which is like basically modern grand piano with like a bunch of like effects on it. They just have like really sick piano presets that sound like a little bit different, more electronic, and like those are the pianos that I use. Or there's honestly just one preset in there that I use for all my pianos now because I just like that one, and it's kind of become part of my sound because I just have like this chain with that and a bunch of other stuff on it. But yeah, dude, anything that I have to go into a Kontakt player and load and then like go back into the player and like shuffle through a giant library of shit that's not organized very well, just don't use it. Like Gravity by Heaviosity, like that was like $350 for an effects suite that works like fucking ass. Dude, oh my God. Like it has good risers and effects and stuff, but like it's organized so poorly, and you have to go into all these different little things to get to different little pieces of it, and it takes forever. And like, plus they're like time based. It's like, do you want a 15-second riser? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I've never thought about that in my life. Do you want 15 seconds or 30 seconds? Like,
just read what BPM I'm in, asshole.
Now I
want it to be 8 bars.
Now I have to bounce it and like shorten it or chop it and like get it to work right, because I have to then you have to put a MIDI note in for your riser, and then it never ends where it's like, oh God damn it. The only time I actually still use that thing is when I'm doing like trailer music, because the risers and stuff are so high quality and all that stuff is so like riser, downlifter, stab, impact heavy.
Seems like it's more of a thing that you could get a lot of use out of in a nighttime session where you're like, I'm just going to make 100 downlifters today and that's it. And I'm going to put them in a folder and they're going to sound incredible. Dude. And then I'll just drag and drop the waves.
You know what I just realized?
Gravity. Did you do what I just said?
But like, well, literally yes, but what you said sparked an idea in my head. Like, Gravity is literally just a sampler that plays all of their shit. Where do the samples live? Like, why don't I just put all those samples in a folder that's like Kontakt shit? I don't want to derail myself on this podcast right now, but I'm going to do a search on my fucking computer and see if I can find where that shit lives.
We can start and end with a derail if you want. I mean, that would be really true to form.
Y'all talk about your biggest mistakes, and I'm going to continue listening, but I need to fucking find this right now. I do regret that so much. It's so expensive. I never use it.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of like, it's just like we talk about, like, people remember your hits, not your misses. Like, if your song is whack, people might listen to part of it and skip it and forget you came out with it last week, you know? Whereas if you make a song they love and they playlist and they listen to it over and over, like, oh, this artist is amazing. They have this one song I love, right? And so similarly, I'm having trouble remembering the plugins I bought and didn't use.
Dude, son of a bitch. All these samples literally... There's like multiple files that are like .nkx that are like 3 gigabytes that obviously that's where the samples live.
I was gonna guess that was some bullshit like that. Bitch. Reasons libraries are like that too, like in a proprietary file that is no other kind of format than what this program can read. And
you know what? You're right though about the nighttime session, just like organizing your sample library. Like, I paid a lot of money for this piece of shit. I should just bounce all of my favorites and just put them in a different folder because I'll actually use them at that point.
And then sell that shit. Just tweak them a little bit from the preset and then sell that shit.
Just pitch it down and sell it.
I mean, pretty much. Like, I mean, I could high key just like go make a whole bunch of like chops out of like arcade loops and slang that on Splice. I'm sure, like, you know, like, who's going to stop anybody from doing that shit?
I actually just realized
it doesn't seem like it would be illegal because they're all royalty free samples at that point.
A free plugin that I forgot about that I use all the time that you, Tesco, told me about, Roth Air.
What is that again?
It is literally a freeware plugin that is to add, like, basically to just boost the high end.
Right.
like the super extra sparkly bits at the top of stuff. I use it on vocals all the time.
Holy shit, I forgot about this plugin.
And it's free and it sounds great. Yeah.
Wow, thanks for the reminder.
Let's see. Other biggest wastes of money.
Track God. Fuck that VST. It's basically just like a worse Nexus, and they keep wanting you to buy banks. Whack.
Oh my god, that sucks.
Boo.
Yeah, that, if I look back at one piece of shit, that's the stinkiest maybe.
You know a total piece of shit? For anyone that plays guitar and uses amp sims, Amplitube 4, they like it literally.
Man, I hate them based off their name alone.
It's a bad name.
Tell them I hate them.
Amplitube.
On paper, it should be so sick. It's like literally like rocking up to the studio and just plugging into your DI and having an entire studio worth of amps and effects and stuff. But what they don't fucking tell you when you buy it, and it's like $150, is that it comes with none of the shit that you thought you did. Like it, and the worst part about it is it comes loaded with all of the stuff you could use, but you don't have, that's grayed out. And then you can't just like get all the stuff you want. You have to buy bundles of shit that is like, if you want the Mesa Boogie amp, you got to buy the fucking classic 60s bundle with a bunch of shit you don't fucking want and are never going to use. And it doesn't even sound that good anyways. Oh my God. I literally wrote a steaming email to their support. Like, you guys did not mention that it doesn't come with all the stuff that you put in your teaser video. It doesn't have any of that shit. It has all the most basic, shitty sounding stuff. And now you expect me to pay twice or 3 or 4 times as much as I did for the plugin just to be able to use the stuff that I thought I would when I watched your video? Fuck that.
Boo!
Did they sort you out?
Fuck no, they didn't. They didn't even respond. I mean,
all right, let it be known. This is an anti-Amplitude podcast.
It is.
Yeah. Go get yourself a better guitar VST.
Going down the Amplitude.
And there's so many better ones. Like, I wish I just asked you, Tesco, so long ago what I should use, because literally
my oracle of amp sims.
My favorite guitar tones that I've ever made are literally consist 100% of amp sims and stuff that you've recommended that go along with processing guitars. So,
but then you've sent me after because you fine-tuned.
Yeah, exactly. It's symbiotic, but
sharing dope gear and ideas with your producer friends is the gift that keeps on giving. That's the real spirit of the season here. You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's all about sharing the joy with your fellow humans, right? So
facts.
Buy some shit, tell your friends about it. And once they buy it, send them all your racks you made with it, and then they'll send you their racks. Merry Racksmiths. I feel like we've talked enough. How do y'all feel about?
Let me
save some for next year,
God, and you'll be better off than I was. Or Amplitube. Shout outs to Amplitube and Track God for not sponsoring this podcast.
And for everybody we said good things about, give us money. We'll tell everybody you're awesome.
Yeah.
Woo!
Give us some affiliate links at least.
Amen. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we got a lot of links down below. None of these plugins will be in there because none of them pay us yet. But, just like Google the name.
But the shit that is down there, we heavily endorse and have paid for ourselves and highly suggest you check out, including the workshops from Seth Drake. Obviously, Class of 808, all the stuff over at Producer Dojo. Amazing stuff that has turned us into the producers we are today. Invaluable resources. Like, cannot say that, with enough emphasis. They've definitely changed my life, music being a very important part of that. So, if you're looking to level up, check it out in the description. Helps us out as well. And you'll for sure level up.
help us help you, help us help Seth Drake and Ill Gates keep teaching people and all that stuff. The communities are amazing. We know each other because we all made the decision to join Ill Gates community, which all turned us on to Seth Drake because Ill Gates and Seth Drake are buddies and big each other up on their programs. So couldn't recommend that stuff more.
I'm gonna throw in just a couple more plugins that I use all the time that you should pick up on Black Friday if you can. Portal.
I forgot.
Portal's sick. They have so many sick presets, and it's like glitchy delay effects stuff. I use it all the time.
We need to talk sometime about favorite Portal presets.
Yeah, we do.
You guys got an hour for that? We'll do a whole episode.
Favorite? No, I don't.
You can add the stars next to the presets, and then they go in your favorites folder.
Yeah, I do that.
Damn, I was gonna say
been doing that for years.
Damn. I guess I'll start doing that and then update you.
Yeah.
A couple others that you'll probably want to at least look at. Endless Smile. It's by the same guys that do Sausage Fattener, but
that makes sense based on their UI.
It's basically just like a gigantic ethereal reverb thingy, and it just has one knob for intensity, but it has like maybe 7 or 8 different like types, and they all have their own character, and it's just really quite nice for just like doing long reverby tail things that are like more interesting than just turning a reverb decay all the way up. Speaking of long decay reverbs, Valhalla Shimmer. I use that all the time as well. It's super sick. And you can actually do a lot of creative sound design stuff with Shimmer as well. If you turn like the feedback and the density all the way down, you get this like weird, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like this smeary. Yeah, it does cool stuff, but it also is like just my go-to like long reverb thing. Let's see. I had 2 other ones that I wanted to mention. Let me
clear my throat. What'd you say?
Spiff. It's by the same people that do Soothe. So if you catch them on Black Friday sale or Easter sale or whatever, and you have some transient shaping money blowing a hole in your pocket, burning a hole in your pocket. It's basically like a multi-band, or not multi-band, but like it's a transient shaping plugin that you can just narrow on like a specific band. So say like you had a kick drum and like the low end thumps hard already, but you want just the top end to have like some additional punch. You can use Spiff to just boost the top end transient, which is nice for stuff like kicks and snares where you don't want to just blow them out with like a smack attack, which is just like brute force. You can really dial in the transients a bit better. And then there was one more that I need to mention. Vocal Synth 2. It is like it's like the serum of like creative vocal processing.
From Waves, right?
I don't think so.
iZotope.
I think it's iZotope. You can find it on sale. Like I found it on sale for $49.
Dang.
And you can use it on vocals, and it gets like some really cool effects. I'll parallel process with vocal synth on something to just give like thickness and depth and like just some more interesting texture on stuff. But you can also put it on like lead sounds and basses and get like really weird, interesting effects on those as well. So yeah, that kind of rounds out the stuff that I use all the time.
That
That
for $50. That's dope. It's $200.
$250 for Canadian. iZotope vinyl is free and fucking amazing. And if you ever have a sound, maybe like a vocal that has some harsh high end and the track isn't too intense, you could just literally slap an iZotope vinyl on it and it'll tame that high end. It'll sound very nice. Also, Quanta by
Dude, I was looking at that. I don't have it. Do you love it?
Who it's by. I do love it. It's by
It's
Audio
like a
Image.
It's like a granular
Synth.
yeah.
But it's very nice UI, very easy to use. Stuff you can do with this.
How do you spell that?
Awesome. Quanta. And it looks like they have a free distortion here. Oh, compressor. Damn.
Cool. Whoa.
With the warming feature. All right.
Rock on.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Chickity, check it.
And
yeah,
with
boy.
that,
Peace. And peace among worlds.
And if y'all have any suggestions for us, like comment
in the comments.
Comments
Just
and
put
stuff
it
that we
in the
missed.
comments, in the motherfucking comments.
Peace amongst worlds, people.
Enjoy your cheap plugins.
You. All right, humans, thank you so much for being with us today. We highly appreciate you. You're awesome. Make sure to hit us up at thehumanmusicpodcast.com for more episodes, socials, and some free sound packs. Support our sponsors like Dojo TV, where you can get free producer live stream classes from the Producer Dojo Senseis and join the Discord chat and link up with a lot of other cool senseis, ask questions, etc. The weekly download, where you can learn from Il Gates and his private weekly group lessons and get access to over 250 more episodes in the archive for just $20 a month, and guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake at the Approach Institute. He's the best engineer we know, and your first class over there is free. Also, go bump the song of the week, hit that pre-save, or if you're listening later, just go stream it a whole bunch, go buy it. It's Rip Kenny Just Wanted You to Know. Go support the homie. All right, and make sure to go get some good deals on some plugins this Black Friday season. All right, till then, peace. Peace among worlds.
I like it.